We are going to be reviewing how to use partial quotients to solve for division. We're looking at an easier example just to remember exactly how this method does work. So we can use repeated subtraction to find our answers. So for 15 divided by 4, I could do 15 and repeatedly subtract 4 each time to find my answer and keep track of how many times I do that on the side over here. So I'm left with 11. I can subtract another 4. I have 7. Subtract another 4. I have 3. And when this number is less than our divisor, that's when we know that it's a remainder. So my answer is 3 3/4. I take my remainder as the numerator and my divisor as the denominator instead of writing 3 remainder 3. Now we can use shortcuts to help solve this faster. Instead of just taking or subtracting one 4 at a time, I can do multiple 4s at a time. I could have subtracted 8, which represents 2 4s, which leaves me with 7, and then I have 1 4 left to subtract. I have a remainder of 3 again, and I'm adding up the amount of 4s I took out to get 3, and then my remainder is the 3/4. We're going to look at it one more time. If I took 3 out to begin with, because I know 4 times 3 is 12, and that fits into 15, I would be left with 3, which again, 3 is my answer, and here's my remainder to create the 3/4. So you could subtract one of the divisor at a time, or multiple at a time, to speed up the process using your multiplication facts. We're going to practice using partial quotients again, but before we do that, I'm going to show you how creating a quick fact table can help you solve a little bit faster. So I'm going to set up my problem. 392 divided by 8. And I'm going to make a fact table for 8. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. And 8 times 5 is 40. I normally do between 4 and 5 facts because using our powers of 10, we can see how these are very useful. So I'm going to focus on my highest 2 place values, the 3 and the 9. So it looks like a 39 or a 390. When I look at my fact table, obviously the farther we go down, the closer we are to getting to 392. But using our powers of 10, we can manipulate this. I notice that 32 is the closest to 39 without going over. 40 is closer, but it's going over. So I know that 8 times 4 is 32. And if I make it 8 times 40, that's 320, which will take a large chunk out of 392 to start off this problem. That leaves me with 72. Now we can use our math facts well. If you're comfortable with that, we would be able to solve this with one number. However, I'm just going to use my 40 because it's there, and I know 8 times 5 is 40. And that leaves me with 32. And using our fact table again, I can finish this with 8 times 4 is 32. We have no remainder, and to find our answer, we add up the numbers on the side. So 392 divided by 8 is 49. So you can see how creating this fact table in the beginning, spending a couple minutes, if you're not as comfortable with your math facts, to create it, will help you solve the problem much faster because we are able to use the math fact 3 times to finish out this problem. We're going to look at 738 divided by 12. Better set up my problem. And then again, I'm going to make my fact table to make this a little bit simpler to solve. If you can't make your fact table as fast, it's okay. It's still worth the time to create. And as I'm looking, I can see that I'm going to try to get close to 73. My numbers are still approaching 73. But now that I'm at 12 times 5, I'm a little bit stuck on my facts, so I'll stop. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I know 12 times 5 is 60. 12 times 50 would give me 600, leaving 138. So looking again at my fact table, 13 is the number I'm trying to get closest to without going over. So 12 times 1, even though it's the smallest fact, is actually going to be the best here, because 12 times 1 is 12. 12 times 10 is 120, leaving me with 18. And now I can see 12 times 1 again is the fact I'm going to use here. Think on your own. How do we know that 6 is the remainder? We know it's the remainder because it is less than 12, the number we are dividing by. So I'm going to add up my numbers and get 61 and 6 the remainder over 12 the divisor. 61 and 6/12 as our answer. I would like you to try one more problem on your own as practice. You're going to do 586 divided by 9. Try this on your own. Do your best. Use the videos to help with the step-by-step directions. And then we will review this tomorrow, or we will definitely be practicing similar problems, and you can always check your answer on our calculator to see how close you were.